Tuscaloosa to frenzy.
Firing. Touchdown, Alabama.
SEC champions, Alabama, Crimson Tide.
We talked about Alabama.
Step back three. Money. And the Alabama Crimson Tide will roll into the Final Four.
Roll Tide!
Roll Tide and welcome to TideTV This Week. I'm Roger Hoover, joined by Paige Riley. And Paige, it's great to have you back this week. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. It was a great 2 weeks off, but I am so excited to talk about that huge win Alabama got in Death Valley.
Tiger Stadium, where opponents' dreams come to die. But that hasn't necessarily been the case for the Crimson Tide. Going into Saturday night's matchup, Alabama was 21-4 in Tiger Stadium since 1970.
Yeah, and the one difference this year was that it was the first matchup against LSU in Tiger Stadium for new head coach Kadyn DeBoer.
Story of the game, of course, was the running ability of the Crimson Tide of Jalen Milroe, the Alabama offense, plus the Crimson Tide defense. It was Milroe rushing for a career-high 185 yards on only 12 carries, while also tying his career high of 4 rushing touchdowns. First, a 39-yard rushing score, then runs of 10, 19, and then finished it off with the best one of the night, an impressive 72-yard touchdown run. It was the longest of his career.
Jahad Campbell, he was key on defense. Alabama kept LSU out of the end zone until the final seconds of the game. The Tide held the Tigers to just 104 yards rushing, and they forced 3 turnovers. Jahad Campbell forced a fumble on this play right here by Tim Smith, and linebacker Deontay Lawson had a huge interception in the end zone to end a scoring threat in the third quarter.
Alabama continued their dominance in red stick with a 42-13 rout of LSU. Then midway through the fourth, it was Bray Hubbard making an amazing grab on another interception of Garrett Nussmeier, second interception for Bray in the past 2 games.
And I felt like that was probably, most complete game we played. We've done that to some extent here the last two games against Missouri and tonight. So coming in a tough environment, just play after play. Just staying the course, and then coming out in the third quarter, getting an interception. I think, just going back down the field and playing good complementary team football.
Jalen Milroe had a game-high 185 yards rushing on only 12 carries. LSU fans will certainly have nightmares of Jalen running through their dreams because in the last 2 games against LSU, he has rushed for 340 yards, averaging over 14 yards per carry with 8 touchdowns.
And like we said, the Alabama defense was key. They had an outstanding performance, forcing 3 turnovers and holding LSU out of the end zone until the final minutes of the game. Alabama has now forced at least 3 turnovers in 4 consecutive games. Alabama was led on defense by Jahad Campbell, who finished with a team-high 12 tackles, including 3 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, and a forced fumble.
And with that impressive defensive performance, Jahad Campbell was named the SEC Co-Defensive Player of the Week. Campbell was also named the Lott Trophy National Player of the Week.
Tyler Booker, he also received some honors. He was named the SEC Co-Offensive Lineman of the Week. Booker led a unit that did not allow a sack as he had a team-high 10 knockdown blocks and did not allow a pressure or commit a penalty.
And Jalen Milroe earned SEC Co-Offensive Player of the Week honors. Milroe totaled 294 yards, including 185 on the ground. His 4 rushing touchdown gives him 16 on the year, breaking Jalen Hurts' single-season rushing touchdown record for an Alabama quarterback. And Jalen received even some more accolades. He was named the Associated Press National Player of the Week.
Milroe was named the Maxwell Award Player of the Week as well, the Walter Camp Offensive Player of the Week, and a Manning Star of the Week.
And Milroe and Campbell were also named Senior Bowl Offensive and Defensive Players of the Week. Certainly a big week for the Crimson Tide, and to hear more about that big win over LSU and what's ahead for the Tide, our Christopher England visited with one of the Tide's offensive linemen.
He joins us now for this week's first off the field from the Hank Crisp Indoor Practice Facility.
I'm Christopher England with TideTV, and I'm joined by Alabama offensive lineman Kadyn Proctor. Kadyn, just off the practice field, coming out that big win over LSU, how's practice out there today?
It was really intense. I feel like everybody was really locked in and honed in on what they needed to do, and I'm really proud of that.
Let's talk about that win over LSU. It was a complete team win, offensively, defensively. You guys didn't give up a sack. Just kind of talk about that performance, especially from the offensive line and the offense there.
I mean, we knew it was going to be a tough environment. LSU, you know, they're always crazy games. Anything can happen. It was a really great defense. I mean, from my perspective, I don't really know from the defensive perspective, but it's a really great team, really great defensive front, and they've grown from last year to this year. I mean, in any type, you know what I'm saying? But to go out there and have that type of game was really something that we kind of focused on, was having a statement game.
Exactly, and that offensive line is starting to kind of gel. You didn't give up a sack against LSU. Really good defense, and to that running game is starting to take form, especially Jalen there. Just talk about him. He's kind of stepping up in the pocket there in that game and taking off. Just kind of talk about the running game and just the O-line, the way you protected him.
I mean, it really just comes down to how you practice throughout the week, you know what I'm saying? And it's going to show in the game. That's all it is. And to see J Mill go for that much and for those touchdowns and to break records is great to see, because it makes my job easier and makes us look good, you know what I'm saying? So I'm really proud of him, and I'm really proud of the offensive line for doing what we did.
The last 2 games against top 25 opponents, you've been very dominant. You've pretty much imposed your will on the other teams. Do you feel like that's maybe the identity of this team now, where you took a little bit, but you're kind of getting to where you want to be?
I feel like we're just tired of seeing that L. It's a terrible feeling. So that's something that we never want to feel again. So doing everything that we can throughout practice to show in the games that that's just not what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? It's a terrible feeling, and everybody knows that. So.
After a tough environment this last Saturday at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, you return home this weekend to Tuscaloosa. It'll be against Mercer, your next to last home game of the season. Just kind of talk about Mercer and getting back in Bryant-Denny this weekend.
Mercer's defense is really good. I mean, it's a 9-1 team. They're really, really good, and they're hoping to see the playoffs in their division. First in sacks, that's something that I've seen. That's big, and that's something that we got to focus on. These are really good guys, and they're gonna come out here and try to hit us in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? Try to come in our home and hit us in the mouth, and we just can't take it lightly.
Well, thank you, Kadyn. Good luck this weekend. Roll Tide, and look forward to talking to you again later on in the season.
Sir, I appreciate you.
For Kadyn Proctor, I'm Christopher England, and that's it for First Off the Field.
TideTV This Week is presented by the University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide.
It is just as loud here at Coleman Coliseum tonight.
I thought the whole crowd was unbelievable. I wouldn't miss anything you could possibly be at this season, because it's going to be a special season.
Alabama fans at Coleman Coliseum have been so good all year long.
What a scene at Coleman Coliseum.
Let's fill Coleman every time we get a chance to fill Coleman.
What an electric crowd here.
Let's just support this team, because it's not that often that you get to put a team of this caliber together.
Welcome back, everyone. We've been breaking down that primetime matchup for Alabama and LSU. And Roger, you were lucky. You had a front row seat in Tiger Stadium.
It certainly was an impressive performance by the Crimson Tide, and really a complete team win. Let's go all access for the highlights of Alabama's 42-13 win over LSU.
Hide me early in the morning, no word of warning of what's to come. I'll follow wherever you take me, wherever fate leads me down to go.
And here comes Jalen Milroe.
Handoff, no. Keeping it himself, Milroe, 30, 25-foot race, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Alabama! Jalen Milroe, 39 yards, and Bama gets on the board first.
Milroe flips it back, it's a screen, and Miller has got some space, and he scoots down to the 11-yard line. The backs have been killing LSU out of the backfield so far.
The handoff will go up the gut, hesitates, couldn't get there initially, stretches forward, did he get in? Yes, touchdown Alabama, Justice Haynes.
Bray Hubbard, the safety. And fake it to Durham. Now Spire immediately under pressure. Loses the football. It's on the ground. And it's scooped up. And Alabama with the takeaway. Tim Smith.
Milrow, 5. Milrow, end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. The quarterback draw. And the Tide rolls to a 20-6 lead.
Smart to get that lead, because if you do look at the forecast, I mean, this could be just the beginning of potentially heavy rain.
Accept the challenge now.
Hey, we talked about being relentless. Relentless. Okay? For 4 quarters, not 2, 4 quarters. Do not step on that field, okay, unless you're ready to start fast, get after them, be physical, okay? Apply pressure every single play. Okay? Every single play until they quit. Here we go. 1-0 on 3. 1, 2, 3. 1-0.
LSU gets the football to begin this third quarter in a 15-point hole.
Well, I asked Brian Kelly what has to change for his offense on this drive, and he said execution.
Meyer across the middle, throwing interception. Deontay Lawson makes the pick right at the goal line. It will be a touchback.
The veteran Lawson makes the play.
Milrow running behind Miller, cuts it back 10, 5, touchdown Alabama! Jalen Milrow, 19 yards, his 3rd rushing touchdown of the game, and Bama builds its lead now 27-6 with 5:05 to go.
Late pressure, and he rolled right into it, right into the path of Jahad Campbell.
Milrow, quarterback draw, has room 30, 35, 40, foot race across midfield, 30, 20, 10, good night, touchdown Alabama. 72 yards, and Jalen Milrow sends a good bit of the 102,000 that were here at kickoff for the exits.
Snap a 14-game home winning streak. They've got 15 straight wins at night coming in here. Kelly's first loss in a home night game, and that's a pick by Bray Hubbard.
Just enough time to get down your fiddle, get down your bow. They hardly beat Saban, apparently can't beat DeVoe. We're back after this on the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
Hey, I want y'all to take a look around. Take a look around. Go ahead. Show the crowd. That's what we do. That's what Bama do.
TideTV This Week is presented by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide, the University of Alabama, where legends are made.
In every moment, greatness awaits. For the bold, the visionary, and those ready to take their shot. Here, we don't chase success. We define it. The University of Alabama, where legends are made.
Welcome back. After a trip to Baton Rouge this past weekend, the 10th-ranked Crimson Tide returned home to Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Alabama will host Mercer in their next-to-last regular season home game, and for a preview of that matchup between the Tide and Bears, our Christopher England joins us once again.
It will be just the 5th meeting all-time between Alabama and Mercer on Saturday. The Crimson Tide have won all 4 matchups against the Bears. The first 2 matchups were way back in 1939 and 1940. Alabama and Mercer wouldn't play again until 2017.
The Crimson Tide won that matchup 56-0 in Bryant-Denny Stadium. The last matchup came in 2021. Alabama rolled to the 48-14 win over Mercer in Tuscaloosa. Mike Jacobs is in his first year as head coach at Mercer. He leads the Bears into this year's matchup 9-1, ranked 7th in the football championship subdivision and 1st in the Southern Conference, also known as the SoCon. The Bears have 4 top 25 wins on the year. Their best was a 10-3 win over number 14 Chattanooga in Week 3. The strength of this Mercer team has been their defense. The Bears are number 1 in the FCS in rush defense, allowing just 54 yards per game. They also lead the FCS in sacks with 36, tackles for loss with 85, and interceptions with 21 on the year. Mercer also leads the FCS in third down defense, allowing just 30 conversions and 140 attempts. The Bears lead the FCS with 28 turnovers gained and also have a FCS leading 6 defensive touchdowns. Defensive lineman Braden Manley leads the Bears with 7 sacks and 13.5 tackles for loss. Not only does Mercer lead the FCS with 21 interceptions on the year, the Bears also have the top 2 players with the most interceptions. Corner TJ Moore and safety Miles Redding each have a FCS leading 6 picks on the year. Mercer is 8th in the FCS in scoring defense, allowing just 16 points per game, and ranked 16th offensively, scoring almost 35. Mercer has played 3 quarterbacks this season. Junior DJ Smith leads the team with 1,282 passing yards with 9 touchdowns, but also has 6 interceptions on the season. But since the lone loss on the season to Samford, freshman Whit Neubauer has emerged as the team's leader at the quarterback position. Over the last 3 games, Neubauer has thrown for 640 yards with 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. Leading the Bears in rushing is senior Dwayne McGee. He leads the SoCon in rushing with 933 yards and rushing touchdowns with 7 on the year.
Kickoff for the Tide's next to last home game of the regular season is set for 1 o'clock. The game will be streamed live on ESPN Plus and SEC Network Plus. Stay with us. We'll have more Tide TV this week coming up next.
Roll Tide, roll! The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Cunningham again. Shot good and she's fouled. There she goes and there's Barker.
Timmons there. Setting her team up.
Possibly the dagger for Alabama. Right to the rim. Got it. Kicks. Nye. Right corner. 3. She hits it. Nye steals the inbounds. Left side to Timmons. Layup good. It's a 2-point game.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Tide TV this week. I'm Paige Riley here with Roger Hoover, and the Alabama men's basketball team is entering their 2nd week of the regular season.
Second-ranked Crimson Tide was already a perfect 2-0, and they hosted McNeese in Coleman Coliseum on Monday night. Grant Nelson got the Tide rolling with the first points of the game on a massive slam dunk. Then McNeese took the lead and led until this shot. It was also a 3-pointer from Grant Nelson at the 10:32 mark. That gave the Crimson Tide the lead once again at 16-14. Nelson had 16 first-half points, and also Mark Sears added 10 points in the first 20 minutes of action to help the Tide lead by 11 at the break, 41-30.
Alabama opened the second half with a 10-4 run, led by back-to-back threes from Latrell Reitzel Jr. to go up 51-34. Alabama led by as many as 21 in the second half. The Cowboys used a 21-6 run to cut the Tide's lead to just 6 with over 4 minutes to play. Nelson then scored 5 of the Tide's last 7 points to keep the Cowboys at bay, as Alabama improved to 3-0 with a 72-64 win.
After a win over Troy on Sunday, the Alabama women's basketball team was back in action on Wednesday night as they hosted Norfolk State. The Spartans held the lead early at 7-6, but the Crimson Tide closed out the first quarter on a 14-5 run to take a 20-12 lead after one. The Tide increased their lead in the second as Alabama led 37-20 at the half.
The Spartans had a strong second half start as they outscored the Tide 23-14 in the third and cut the score to just one in the fourth at 51-50. But from there, Alabama outscored them 17-8 over the final 6+ minutes of the game. The Tide prevailed by double digits, 68-58. The win over the Spartans improved the Tide's record to 4-0.
The Alabama volleyball team had a top 25 matchup this week as the Tide traveled to Gainesville to take on the 25th-ranked Florida Gators. Paris Thompson finished with a career-best 3 aces, but it wouldn't be enough as the Gators swept the Crimson Tide in 3 sets.
Leonardo Alcantara had a huge weekend, a school record performance that led the 20th-ranked Alabama men to a sweep over 19th-ranked LSU and number 22 Florida State. Alcantara set a school record and won the 1,000 freestyle event by over 3 seconds.
The Alabama women's team also swept their competition as well as they picked up wins over number 13 LSU and Florida State. Along with Alcantara's school record, the Tide broke 4 Alabama Aquatic Center records in their impressive sweeps of LSU and Florida State.
Also, the rowing team had a huge weekend. They wrapped up their fall schedule this past Saturday as they hosted Clemson and Miami for the head of the Black Warrior River. Out of the 3 races, the Alabama B boat earned the Crimson Tide's top finish, posting a time of 19 minutes and 44 seconds. Stay with us. We'll have our plays and players of the week coming up next.
It is just as loud here at Coleman Coliseum tonight.
I thought the whole crowd was unbelievable. I wouldn't miss anything you could possibly be at this season because it's going to be a special season.
Alabama fans at Coleman Coliseum have been so good all year long.
What a scene at Coleman Coliseum.
Let's fill Coleman every time we get a chance to fill Coleman.
What an electric crowd here.
Let's just support this team because it's not that often that you get to put a team of this caliber together.
Drive. It's a keeper. Milrow follows the back. Milrow explodes to the secondary. Race for the end zone. Touchdown, Tide. Fake it to Durham. Nussmeier immediately under pressure. Loses the football. It's on the ground. And it's scooped up. And Alabama with the takeaway. And Nussmeier across the middle. Throw an interception. Deontay Lawson makes the pick. Quarterback run. Jalen Milrow. It's a sprint. Number 4 with his 4th rushing touchdown, 72 yards.
You can see how she can impact the game in so many ways. And there's another beautiful take. Here comes Green. Zay Green and 1. Bottom of the net. It's a Leonardo. 5 for 9 from deep in this game.
Backdoor look is to Nelson. He throws it home, and a great start for Alabama. Reed in the open floor, puts it up, swatted away by the trailer Stevenson.
Corner 3 is down. That's right side. Sears, yeah! Mark Sears, another one from deep.
Those are our ATI plays of the week.
Now let's take a look at our players for the week, brought to you by Legacy of Hope.
Let's start with football. Jalen Milrow led Alabama to a 42-13 win over 13th-ranked LSU. Milrow totaled 294 yards of total offense, including 184 rushing with 4 rushing touchdowns. Those 4 rushing scores set a new single-season record for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback with 16.
And we got to talk about Rowan Jones. He won the ATI South Sectional Championship on Sunday. Jones defeated 43rd-ranked Martin Katz of Miami in the championship match. Jones also clinched a spot in the NCAA Singles Championship, won last year by his teammate Philip Planasek.
And also swimming and diving's Leonardo Alcantara set a program record in the 1,000 freestyle, defeating his competition by more than 3 seconds. Alcantara was named the SEC Co-Men's Swimmer of the Week.
And his teammate Kadyn Vincent was named the SEC Women's Swimmer of the Week. Vincent won 3 of the 4 events she competed in. She ranks 8th nationally in both the 50 and 100 freestyle.
Congratulations to all of our Legacy of Hope Players of the Week.
It was an awesome week, and I'm excited to see what happens for the rest of the month, and it was a huge win for the Alabama football team.
It's going to be an exciting rest of the month, and we will look forward to that, but that's all the time we have for this week.
We hope to see you back here next week for more Tide TV this week. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
This has been a presentation from Learfield.